It's week 6 of the NFL here on NFL Daily. We start a little preview here. Dolphins, Falcons. Matt Ryan trying to get back on track with Atlanta. Look, they lost against the Bills in their most recent game, but they're coming off the bye. That makes things easier. Dolphins won last week, but that was against Matt Castle. Does that even count as a win? Bears, Ravens. Look, we get to see more Mitchell Trubisky, but the question everyone is still asking, is Joe Flacco elite? Browns, Texans, Deshaun Watson does not get to face fellow first-year quarterback Deshaun Kaiser, but Watson has been on fire lately. The Browns still searching for their first win of the season. Packers, Vikings, coming off a huge win against the Cowboys in thrilling fashion. And then Minnesota, if they can't keep Sam Bradford healthy, that's a big problem right now. Lions, Saints, this is a sneaky good game perhaps. The Saints have been on fire as of late, especially on offense. The Lions, they've actually been a pretty good team this year. That could be a thriller. Patriots, Jets. Here's the Jets' chance to prove themselves against a good Patriots team. But who here actually trusts the Jets? Niners, Redskins. The Niners have been close, but they're still searching for their first win. And maybe, just maybe, Kirk Cousins facing off against his future NFL team. Bucks, Cardinals. Both these teams need a win. Cardinals have a new toy in Adrian Peterson. The Bucks hoping that their kicking problems are now solved. Rams, Jaguars, both these teams for real? Both have dynamic halfbacks in Fournette and Gurley. Could be a good game. Chargers, Raiders here up next. Derek Carr expected to play. That's a big boost for them. And then Steelers, Chiefs as well. Steelers, look, they're good, but Big Ben coming off 5 interceptions. That's got to change this week. And the Chiefs, of course, they're still the only undefeated team left in the NFL. Giants, Broncos, G-Men staring 0-6 with all those injuries. They're down their top 4 receivers. Denver, meanwhile, they're coming off the bye. That makes things much better for the Broncos. And then finally, Monday Night Football, Colts, Titans, no Andrew Luck, but we might have a return for Marcus Mariota. Titans need this one in the AFC South race.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into NFL Daily, Friday the 13th edition. We hope you have stayed safe out there, not walking under any ladders or what have you. We thank you for coming on the...
You would be Mr. Superstitious.
Hey, it's a
Or
real
as my
thing.
mother used to say, stupid-stitious.
Oh, whatever. I'm Cam Rogers. That guy right there is Tom Downey. We are taking you through the next 45 minutes or so, going through every single Week 6 matchup across the National Football League. But we do have some breaking news to start off with, Tom. Ezekiel Elliott's saga continues.
And it's going to keep continuing.
It
and
certainly
on
does.
And on and on.
A great transition there because the NFLPA has filed a motion for an en banc hearing with the Fifth Circuit Court. So that means that Zeke Elliott and the NFLPA want a full panel of judges to rule on this case, not just 3, Tom Downey.
En banc is French for in bench, which is, bench, court, all that kind of stuff. So what it means is, as you said, they just want the full court hearing. So the way the Fifth Circuit does their appeals is that rather than have every case go before the entire appeal court, appellate court I think is actually the correct term there. What they do is they set up these little panels and say, okay, you 3 take this hearing, you 3 take this case, all designed to speed up an already slow process.
Right.
Now what Zeke and the NFLPA want is they go, hey, we think your guys, the panel got it wrong. So we want the entire court to hear it. And you guys get together and make a new decision. The downside is I don't think the NFLPA and Zeke are going to win this because last year there were 200 instances of a legal team applying for this hearing. They were allowed to hear it 6 times. So the percentage-wise is not very good. And these are in cases of like, oh, this is a very important case, or this is like something that there's some contradiction here with previous courts that there's, they didn't follow precedent before. I don't think that's the case here with Zeke. I know we care a lot about what the outcome is, but I don't think it's a matter of public concern.
All right, so I think the big thing with this situation here, if indeed the en banc is granted, the injunction is enacted, right? And he can play again.
And that's the entire goal of this, is that the NFLPA believes that this route is the best way for the original injunction to stay in place, or I guess to get put back in place.
Right.
The downside is I don't think this is going to work out. I don't think the NFLPA is going to win this particular round.
It's a move we didn't expect, right?
Yeah, I thought they were just going to move on and either go reappeal back in Texas because they have their grounds to, or go reappeal in New York where the NFL already believes the case should be heard. But maybe they think that they have a legitimate chance. Look, this got thrown out because the court said that the NFL or the NFLPA applied for the injunction too early. Think of it kind of like, you know how when you need a warrant to go arrest somebody or to go investigate a house, you can't go in until you have that warrant, otherwise everything gets thrown out?
Sure.
It's the exact same thing here, but in this case it was applying too early. So it was a technicality that it got thrown out on.
All right, so I think that stat that you mentioned about the 200 cases, only hearing 6 of them in this en banc request.
I'm not good with math, but that's like 3%.
Yeah, math is hard, and that is a really hard statistic to swallow if you are the NFLPA and Zeke's camp. I will say this, Tom Downey, though. I'm sure 200 of those cases, none of them were with the star power that we're dealing with right now.
I'm sure there were not, but at the same time, star power doesn't really matter for the courts. Like, the courts care about getting the ruling right. They care about what the law says. They don't care that, oh, cool, you're a big-name NFL player.
Yeah.
La-di-da. Like, they just don't care about that. And we saw some comments on our show yesterday saying that, oh, the NFL had paid off the judges in the court. Like, no, that's not really what happened here. That's why they had the injunction in the first place. If that was the case, we would not have advanced this far. Like, we would not have ever had an injunction granted. So what we'll see here is I don't think they'll hear it. They'll respond relatively quickly.
Sure.
And I think at that point, then you'll see the NFLPA and Zeke's team go ahead and say, okay, let's try to reapply in Texas because they know that judge likes them already. They already know that.
Yeah.
Like, that's been made very clear.
A little hometown cooking,
yes.
I guess you could say.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, so of course we are completely live here, ladies and gentlemen. We want you commenting, reacting, especially on this breaking news here in regards to Zeke Elliott. The saga continues. I said it on my program this morning, Tom Downey. I'm sure not a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans are in the same camp as me in terms of this opinion, but I just think he should serve these 6 games and then move along because it's a fight I don't think he can win.
I think that there's a legitimate argument there about the can't winning thing. At the same time, and fair or not, the perception is if Zeke quits, it's a tacit admission of guilt.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. And from the NFLPA perspective, they're trying to set a precedent themselves here, that they thought this was a really, really unfair example of the NFL just kind of, from their point of view, railroading a player and just kind of taking it out on him for no real reason and not involving proper due process. So that's what the NFLPA is doing, and they're gonna fight that.
All right, just one piece to the puzzle here as we move along on NFL Daily. We are indeed presented by MyBookie.ag, the #1 online sports book. Make all those bets for college football tomorrow, NFL on Sunday, college hoops coming up not too far from here. Use promo code CHAT to get that 100% initial deposit bonus. Tom, it's interesting. My fantasy chat has been blowing up about bets and parlays and all of this lingo, and I'm just like, guys, head on to MyBookie.ag, get it all done, and stop talking in the group chat and blowing it up. Just make your picks.
I made some great money last week here on our picks. That was great last week. 8-5-1.
Yeah.
Best week this year, and that one gave me the tie. Patriots Bucks. I feel like I should have had that one, but hey,
I wasn't so good. But
finished
that's
in the red there. That's good. Or in the black. Whatever.
So you're riding some momentum. I'm not. So maybe the audience should just listen to you.
I'm feeling good right now.
I shouldn't even do the picks throughout the show here.
You were a game under 500. You were close.
Yeah.
You were close.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, many thanks again to MyBookie.ag. Use that promo code CHAT for that 100% initial deposit bonus. Tom, we had a pretty big game last night.
Fun
Eagles
game.
Panthers, huh?
The fun game. Let's get you to these highlights here. We start in the first quarter. Carson Wentz, he does the old pump fake one too many times. Ball gets knocked out by Julius Peppers. Kawan Short recovers it. Nice play there for the Panthers early. Later in the game, tied at 3. Cam Newton will keep it on the option. Panthers up 10-3. Outside of Cam, no ground game for Carolina. Also some not great protection. He gets hit as he throws, and it falls right into the waiting arms of Rasul Douglas. Eagles take over deep in Panthers territory. That led to this. Carson Wentz to his BFF, Zach Ertz, and we are tied at 10. Then another turnover. Cam Newton to Jonathan Stewart, ends up in the arms of Patrick Robinson. Here's what happened. This is all Jonathan Stewart's fault.
What are you doing?
Like, how do you not catch that football literally in your chest? And then just like the last turnover, same result. Wentz to Ertz, touchdown. Eagles go up 16-10. But after Panthers penalty on the extra point, Eagles go for 2. LeGarrette Blount barrels his way in, 18-10. First play of the fourth quarter, Wentz to Nelson Aguilar for the score, and it's 28-16. The Eagles are up. And then Cam Newton and the Panthers will not quit. They go to Christian McCaffrey for the score, 28-23. Panthers had some chances late, Cam. Newton trying to go to Kelvin Benjamin. Some miscommunication there on the route. Picked off by Jalen Mills. The Eagles win 28-23. They are now 5-1.
What a test for the Philadelphia Eagles in that game. Going into Carolina, the Panthers riding high after 2 huge wins for them against New England and Detroit respectively, and Carson Wentz balled out. He did not have an elite running game to help him out.
He had something, though, unlike Carolina.
That's very true. Carolina's rush offense, as you see in our stat line here, 9 total yards. I mean, that is disgusting. And
it's really bad.
Cam Newton had to do a lot himself. He had a couple of picks that really weren't his fault. The Panthers will be just fine. This was a hard-fought game. I think we have to really give credit to the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Are they the class of the NFC? You have to wonder, as you bring in this weigh-in, are the Eagles the best team in that conference right now? Of course, not in the NFL because they lost to the Chiefs, and so by default, the Chiefs are the best team right now.
Hey.
But there is an argument for the NFC.
I'm just saying, in my NFL power ranks, I had the Eagles as the highest NFC team, and that's only based on what they've done this year.
Yep.
So, yeah, I agree. I think the Eagles right now are the best team in the NFC. That's also a very different question than will they make it to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
But right now, look, they've beaten every team they played except for the Chiefs. That was a pretty close game, and the Chiefs are still undefeated. So, and I think this is a really good Eagles team. Maybe they're still a year away from being a true Super Bowl threat, but Carson Wentz has looked pretty good. The offensive line, as we talked about off the air earlier today, it's a really good offensive line. The ground game has been just good enough. The front seven for the Eagles is one of the better ones in the league. You know, Darby's going to come back soon for that secondary. This is an Eagles team built to win right now, not just in the future.
It's a front seven that can get after the quarterback, and then the secondary can be opportunistic off of that. That formula has worked before for Super Bowl teams, and I'm sure the Eagles can try to make it happen into a deep playoff run with that front seven and a secondary that isn't great, but that can make plays. And I really have to allude to that offensive line again. Travis Kelce, Lane Johnson, although didn't play last night, has been great at right tackle. And then, of course, you have Jason Peters at the left side there at left tackle. These guys get it done, and they are the #1 offensive line right now, according to Pro Football Focus. So really good offensive line, and that it creates opportunities for Carson Wentz and his guys on the outside. Torrey Smith making it happen, and Alshon Jeffrey, a little bit of a resurgence there as well.
So Nelson Aguilar looks like an actual NFL player.
Can you believe it?
Yeah,
so there you go.
I like him come out of USC. He was fast.
Yeah.
Now he knows how to catch the ball. Works wonders when he can do that, huh?
You know, that does help. According to my research, that does help. Yeah. So, again, throw in those comments, and we will show them throughout the broadcast here on NFL Daily. Another piece of information in terms of some news, the 49ers have released all-pro linebacker NaVorro Bowman. And, Tom, this more has to do with the fact that NaVorro, it's time for him to move on, and the situation was kind of getting stale there in San Francisco.
They tried to trade him because Bowman, he wants to be on a good team. The Niners are not a good team right now.
Yeah.
They have this kid named Reuben Foster who's going to be really, really good for them. Foster's coming back from his injury. He's prepared to take over as the full-time star linebacker for this Niners team in the middle. Bowman can still play. His contract made it a little tough for him to actually be traded, so that the fact that they're now going to go ahead and release Bowman, this allows him to pick his team. And it's probably going to end up being a contender, by the way, because,
Right.
Of course, that makes sense. Look, he is not the same player he was in his all-pro years. He just had some issues with injuries. He's coming off the torn Achilles. He's not the same player he once was, but there are multiple teams that can use him as a starter.
Right.
Because there are some teams out there that just need another inside backer.
No, by no means am I comparing him to this man right now, but I do believe NaVorro Bowman is in the 2012 range of Ray Lewis. When Ray Lewis was with the Ravens in that Super Bowl run, he was not an elite linebacker in 2012, but he was very serviceable. He was a starter. He brought that IQ. That's what NaVorro Bowman can bring to a contender right now. Tom, you have created a list of possible destinations for Bowman. Let's start off here with number 5, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So remember, don't forget this about NaVorro Bowman, and we're going to mention this again later on in the show here with Bowman. He went to good old linebacker U. He went to Penn State.
Yep.
So Pittsburgh is closer than Philadelphia to Penn State, even though it's just kind of, edges, Penn State in the middle. I don't think this is the best option. I know the Steelers like their current linebacking core, but if NaVorro Bowman reached out to Pittsburgh and say, hey, I'd like to play for you guys, I'll take a little bit maybe less money. At that point, if you're Pittsburgh, you're like, oh, yeah, let's do that. I think That's a great idea. So I know that Pittsburgh really likes their backers right now. I think it's worth exploring. I don't think he'll end up in Pittsburgh, but it's a spot that I wanted to mention.
All right, so there you go. Pittsburgh at number 5, struggling actually right now in terms of run defense. So that's something to keep an eye on as we go along here in our possible landing spots. And number 4, the Dallas Cowboys, a little Sean Lee and NaVorro Bowman duo.
Back again, baby.
There you go.
Remember, they were at Penn State together.
Yes.
So I think this is a great option for Dallas. With the release, it makes it a little bit more plausible because of the salary cap. That we'll get to another team here as well. That actually makes it actually possible as opposed to that just can't happen right now, that the salary map does not work out. The Cowboys have Sean Lee, but he's often banged up. Anthony Hitchens, Jalen Smith, both are coming off injuries. Hitchens the more recent one, Smith the one before he was drafted. They've had some issues. Getting a guy like Bowman for a linebacking core that right now really, really needs the help. I know that they have Sean Lee and Anthony Hitchens and Smith, but Hitchens and Smith have not looked that great, especially when Sean Lee's off the field. Getting a guy like Bowman makes their linebacking core much better, and that's what they need right now.
All right, so Dallas Cowboys there at number 3. Moving on, or number 4, excuse me, on to number 3. The New Orleans Saints, a young linebacking core right now. A lot of guys that weren't highly drafted, but that's why you have them here at number 3, perhaps getting NaVorro Bowman.
The Saints have always needed defensive help. They've needed that for years now. They drafted a kid out of Florida, Alex Anzalone, but he's hurt right now. If he was healthy, maybe they wouldn't have interest. They wouldn't have had interest in a trade because the Saints have no cap space. But now they can go out and add someone like Bowman for a little bit cheaper. He can start right away over Craig Robertson and Manti Te'o. That's just an upgrade there.
Oakland Raiders checking in at number 2, and they have bigger problems right now, Tom, in terms of trying to figure out if Derek Carr can stay healthy. But hey, NaVorro Bowman couldn't hurt.
They have no linebackers. They completely ignored it this offseason. I don't really know what happened to Perry Riley.
Right.
He was good for Oakland last year, and then oh, we don't want you, and apparently no one wants him either. So I don't really know what happened there. But I think getting a guy like Bowman, he doesn't even have to move. He can still commute from wherever he's staying in the Bay Area, from San Francisco to Oakland. Not that far of a move there.
And that's critical,
And he will instantly become, I think, maybe not their best linebacker, but at least one of their top 2 at the very worst. He's an instant starter for Oakland.
That's been a surprise. Oakland Raiders linebacking core this year not up to snuff at this juncture as we move into the number 1 landing spot for NaVorro Bowman. This would be such a Patriots move.
They need linebacker help because outside of Donta Hightower, it's not good right now. They never properly replaced Jamie Collins. They like to play Hightower on the outside. They've had him blitz quite a bit this year. Getting a guy like Bowman to shore up the middle allows Hightower to stay outside, and when they don't have him on the outside, a Hightower-Bowman combo 1-2 punch on short downs, that's big for New England. Now they don't always go after the splashy guy,
right,
but I think this makes sense for them. The need is there, and if Bowman wants to win, you just go to New England. If you're a vet who wants to win a title, you go to New England.
Best shot right now.
I hate saying that, but you go to the Patriots.
Cam Rogers here alongside Tom Downey on NFL Daily, breaking down some of the biggest news and notes across the NFL. It's time to look back at our power rankings, summarizing this past week in terms of our statures of where all these players, or teams I should say, land. And let's take a look here. We got the Cleveland Browns at number 32, Niners at 31, Giants at number 30. They are winless. Can you believe it? And then the Bears at number 29. They fought hard on Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings. 28, the Chargers. 27, the Colts. Miami Dolphins at number 26. The Arizona Cardinals at number 25. Cincinnati checking in at number 24. The Jets at number 23. Titans hopefully getting Mariota back on Monday Night Football. They're at 22. Got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 21 here. As the Saints come in at number 20. Raiders at number 19. Cowboys at number 18. Ravens at 17 off that win against the Raiders. There are the Texans right in the middle at number 16. Bills dropping to number 15. Steelers falling to number 14. And then there are the Jaguars right there ahead of them at number 13 after crushing the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field. Minnesota Vikings there at number 12. Redskins at 11 coming off a bye. Detroit Lions, they are right there at number 10. And the Rams at number 9. Seattle moved up some. They're at number 8 now. The Patriots checking in at number 7. Broncos at number 6. They were just on a bye. Carolina at number 5. They just lost last night. And then the top 4, Falcons at 4, Eagles at 3, Packers at 2, Chiefs now at number 1. And a little foreshadowing here, could be the Eagles at number 2 next week.
I think they should have been at number 2
Could
already.
certainly happen. By the way, we want you to vote in terms of where you think all these NFL teams should fall. So head on to chatsports.com/rank, submit your own power rankings, and we will show you the fan-led power rankings next week.
Yes, we will.
So get involved.
Yeah,
And
no complaining unless you vote.
Exactly.
If you don't vote, you lose the right to complain.
that is very important. So there you go. So if you're looking at your computer, you're thinking about complaining, you're like, wait a minute, have I voted yet? If the answer is no, head on to chatsports.com/rank, get it done, then complain. That's totally fine. All right, well, it's time to get into some picks here, Tom. Let's do it.
Picks and previews, baby. I love it.
We got some Browns at Texans action. Kevin Hogan starting at the quarterback position this week. Browns searching for their first win. Meanwhile, the Houston Texans, a valiant effort against the Chiefs last week on Sunday Night Football, have looked pretty good on the offensive side, but losing J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless, that'll hurt.
That's a big blow for Houston. I don't think they're going to be as good as they are right now because of those defensive injuries. I think Deshaun Watson, as good as he was against the Chiefs, he had a bunch of touchdowns. He barely completed 50% of his passes. Now, as a Deshaun Watson fantasy owner, I am all aboard the let's go Deshaun train. But I think that it's going to get harder for him now. Like, teams have some tape on him. It's only going to get harder from here on out. The Browns, the defense isn't as bad as you think it is, especially with Myles Garrett now back.
Yeah.
With that said, I am still going to go ahead and pick the Houston Texans because I have a tough time picking Cleveland right now. I really do.
I do.
I just can't do it.
Especially at NRG Stadium,
Yeah.
I think the Texans get it done here. Give me that 9.5 plus score there. I think Texans will get after Kevin Hogan, even without J.J. Watt. It could be kind of a Sean Lee situation where that defense is kind of, like a deer in headlights without their captain. But still, I think they get after Kevin Hogan in this one.
They survived without him last year, which was good.
Yeah,
but
exactly. So I think the Texans win this one. By the way, as we go through all these games, throw in your reactions in terms of who you think is going to win this week. A heart for the Browns in this case, a wow face for the Texans. We'll be tracking them all as we go along here. And let's check in with the Baltimore Ravens in Charm City taking on the Chicago Bears. Mitchell Trubisky getting a start, his second of his career, coming off that Monday Night Football performance. He looked okay, Tom. I mean, think about it. The Minnesota Vikings are a tough team.
he looked like a lot of what we saw at North Carolina, where you keep him inside the 20 in terms of going downfield, and he's very accurate inside of that 20 to 25 to and under 20 under range. He's very accurate in that part of the field. He's kind of your prototype West Coast quarterback. He can move on the run. Frankly, his two worst throws were his interception, of course, and his touchdown, because the touchdown should have been picked off too.
Right.
Went right through Andrew Sendejo's hands. This is the safety. Should have been picked there. But I like what I saw out of Trubisky. I think it was good to keep playing him. Frankly, maybe they should have gone to him earlier.
That's a great little posing
segue,
there, I will say, Tom, because we bring in this weigh-in and say, was starting Mitchell Trubisky mid-season the right move? And you actually think he should have been started earlier. So, it's an interesting situation because, of course, they put a lot of money into Mike Glennon at the quarterback position. Did not get what they invested, though that ROI, if you will, was not very good. In comes Mitchell Trubisky. So, coming in mid-season, I wouldn't say mid-season per se, but the season has started, and sometimes that can be kind of difficult for a rookie quarterback. So,
look, it's all about how you handle your rookies, because it's not just the talent that determines how successful you are in the NFL. It's also about how you're developed and what kind of supporting staff you have around you. You look at a guy like Trubisky. The Bears were patient with him early on. I think they put him in a decent enough spot. We'll see if that ends up being the case. But you can go back to Dak or Carson Wentz. Both those guys were in great spots to start their careers. Jared Goff was not in year one. Now look at him in year two.
Exactly.
And then you go look at a guy like Deshaun Kaiser, who we knew coming out of Notre Dame needed to have the right amount of confidence, needed to be supported. He couldn't be benched like he was in Notre Dame. So what do the Browns do? They bench him because they've already ruined Deshaun Kaiser. So I hope that this is going to be the right path for Trubisky.
all right. So you like the Baltimore Ravens in this game, though, at home.
I do not.
Wait, what?
I switched it on you.
No, Downey,
This is all part of my master plan. Give me the Bears this week. I think Trubisky makes it close. Maybe Baltimore still wins. I think it's a field goal game. I think Trubisky plays just well enough. They put up a decent enough showing against Minnesota. I think Minnesota's a better team than Baltimore. Granted, it's now on the road,
Right.
but I'll take the Bears. I think it's close. Baltimore still wins. Bears cover.
Give me the Baltimore Ravens in this one. I
Baltimore.
think they're going to win by 7, 8, 10 points, something like that. I mean, it won't be higher than that 6.5 too much, but I do think the Ravens get it done. I think John Harbaugh and company will be ready for this one. They'll get after Mitchell Trubisky. I think they know how to bring the exotic blitzes. Dean Pease is one of the masters of that, the defensive coordinator there. So I think, I think they'll win by a nice cushion here. Joe Flacco makes some throws downfield. Give me the Ravens in this one by 10 points. I'll say 10 points there. So let's move along here. Little Lions at Saints. This one is very interesting. The Lions lost to the Carolina Panthers last week. And
close, though.
It was a close one. The Saints coming off a bye, a little extra preparation for Matt Stafford and company.
I'm quite curious to see how this Lions team fares. The offense, frankly, hasn't been that good this year. I mean, they've won games. The 14-7 win helps knock down that total offense. But the Lions haven't had a ton of success moving the ball. Now they get a Saints defense that, even including the game against the Dolphins, which was a shutout, it's been bad.
Yeah.
Like, they're still 29th in total defense despite a shutout.
That's bad.
That's not what you want. But I will say this, Cam. This is my curious line of the week.
By 4.
Saints by 4. I know it's at home, but it's a home game. So if it was at a neutral site, that means the Saints would still be favored. So Vegas thinks the Saints are a better team. I'm surprised. That's why I've got the Saints.
Okay.
Curious line of the week has me picking New Orleans.
All right. Well, you know what? I agree with you. I like the Saints in this one. I think they find a way to win. Actually, no, I don't. Actually, I have the Saints winning outright. I always think outright and straight up.
Yeah.
So I actually do have the Lions keeping it close.
Okay. Lions cover.
There you go. I look really intelligent right now, ladies and gentlemen. Don't even just pay attention to my pick right now. But I do have the Lions.
I'm going to go and throw in a ha-ha face.
Yeah, throwing a ha-ha for me. Everybody laughing at me right now.
In the reaction polls, folks.
But the reality is, I think the Lions know how to play gritty, tight games.
They do.
And you saw that last week with Carolina.
Saw it last year, all year.
Last year, too. Yeah, absolutely. So I think they find a way to keep it close, too. Something to keep in mind, folks. Matt Stafford, he's going to play, but he's been hobbling. That ankle's a problem. So I think the Saints are going to bring a lot of blitzes early and really test that ankle, that mobility of Matt Stafford.
Fans like the Lions, by the way. A lot of hearts flowing in.
A lot of hearts flowing in. All right, so they're coming along with me. Bad mistake, ladies and gentlemen, but there you go. Lions taking on the Saints in New Orleans. Let's move along here to the marquee CBS game. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo. Steelers at Chiefs at Arrowhead. A rematch of the AFC divisional game when the Steelers won 18-15.
Without scoring a touchdown.
This could be a much different outcome, Tom, I feel.
I'm curious to see how Big Ben responds because he had the 5 interceptions last week. Then he comes out and says, maybe I don't have it anymore. Then he comes out and says, I have faith in myself. I think I'm one of the best quarterbacks in the world.
Wordplay.
Pick one, Ben. Either you don't have it anymore or you're great. What are you doing waffling all over the place here? So I think Big Ben likes the drama. This was my honorable mention curious spread of the week because it's the Chiefs by 4 at home. Neutral site, that's a 1-point Chiefs win. So maybe the Chiefs, they've had a couple close games of late. Maybe the defense and not having Eric Berry catches up to them, but I'm still going to go with Kansas City. It's tough for me right now to pick Pittsburgh after watching Big Ben get picked off 5 times. And by the way, Big Ben, I don't even know if he wants to be out there. Yeah. His body language has been brutal right now. He just looks like he's uninterested.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there with Ben Roethlisberger. Struggling one game is one thing, but if that desire begins to dissolve, it's going to affect your play on the field.
Pittsburgh on the road, awful team.
That's very true. So I do indeed take the Chiefs in this one. I think they'll win by a hefty amount here. So the Chiefs are the best team in the National Football League right now. They're going to continue that. Alex Smith is number 1 in our MVP power rankings for a reason.
Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year?
Who would have thought that? Kareem Hunt getting it done at the running back position. Yeah, I mean, by the way, Travis Kelce, a little banged up right now. We'll see if he plays. He's in the concussion protocol, but we'll see going forward in the inactive report. But I do like the Chiefs -4 here in this one. All right, let's move on to a little introduction about MyBookie.ag. They're coming along for the ride here on NFL Daily. We are indeed presented by the #1 online sports book. Get that 100% deposit bonus on that initial deposit using promo code CHAT up to $1,000. Tom, if I put in $1,000, they go, here you go, here's $1,000.
It's the old win-win right there.
The old
and
win-win.
I love me a win-win.
There you go. So MyBookie.ag or chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code CHAT so they know you came from us.
I had a lot of win-wins last week. You did not.
I did not. But hey, you have a big win this weekend. You're getting married, right?
I am not getting
You are
married.
getting married.
I knew this was going to come up on air. I'm going to a friend's wedding, Cam.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this
everybody
is not
say
my
congrats
wedding.
to Tom Downey. He is getting married this weekend. This is
About to
awesome.
have the old lose-lose. I'm about to snap and murder you on air again.
Oh boy, this guy, a real husband. You gotta love it. All right, let's move on to some more previews here. Chargers at Raiders. This one at 4:25 Eastern on CBS. And looks like Derek Carr is gonna play in this one, Tom. So I guess that makes that line, well, it's non-existent right now, but perhaps they move it back into some sort of line if Derek Carr is indeed going to be active here. But Chargers coming off a win against the New York Football Giants, and this could be a tight one, divisional game in the AFC West.
This is the old off-the-board spread in part because of the Derek Carr injury, so we'll call it a pick'em for our purposes, which I think makes it easier on us because I got Oakland. Derek Carr is going to play. I think that's a big boost for the Oakland offense, which is, by the way, has not been very good this year, in part because Carr was hurt for a little bit. So, look, no spread in this one. NA there on the board. I got Oakland, though.
I'm going to take the Chargers.
Are you now?
I am taking the Chargers to win this game.
You've been handling it with Harris too much.
I'm telling you. I think that sometimes picks don't make sense in the NFL.
That's true.
This is a pick that just doesn't make sense, and I can't explain it to an analytical point. But I think the Chargers find a way in this divisional game. I think they're going to get after Derek Carr. All it takes is a couple hits, and that back,
Tom,
back
could go.
You
That's
know,
very true.
You know, you've seen it with Tony Romo before.
I've seen it with you.
You've seen it with me. Yes, I have back problems too. A lot of trigger points back there. But I think the Chargers, I mean, they come into the game plan on the defensive side of the ball. They knock around Derek Carr a little bit. That offensive line has shown some problems in pass protection, surprisingly so. I think the Chargers win this one.
There's been some buzz about moving this game as well because of the air quality in the Bay Area is awful right now.
Yep.
Super smoggy there. So we'll see. The expectation is that it's still played there, but we'll see what ends up happening.
All right, so there you go. Chargers, Raiders on CBS in the late window. This one in the early window, Packers at Vikings. No Sam Bradford, no Stephon Diggs. Yes, Case Keenum. Packers will be traveling on the road here in this one. The Green Bay Packers have looked really good on the offensive side of the ball. That defense is doing what they can. Of course, they're fresh off that late game heroics by Aaron Rodgers against the Dallas Cowboys. The Minnesota Vikings took care of business against the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football. These games are always fun. What do you think about this one, Tom?
Look, no Sam Bradford, no Stephon Diggs means Packers are going to win. Look, I don't hate Case Keenum as much as I used to. I think he's a fine NFL backup. I don't know how I could ever possibly pick Case Keenum to beat Aaron Rodgers or even just cover a 3-point spread. Give me Rodgers in the pack. Like, come on.
I'll tell you what. You look at the Football Focus rankings right now, and Case Keenum is up there. He is playing well at the quarterback position. The Minnesota Vikings will win this game outright over Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers.
There's no way.
Record this, cut it, put it up on social and all over Chat Sports. You're hearing it right here. Minnesota Vikings are going to win. All right? It's going to happen.
Oh, are we doing a side bet here?
There's going to be a side bet.
All right.
Whatever it is, I don't know, but
Loser buys the Margs Friday night.
Fair enough. There you go.
go.
I'll buy the Margs. If I lose, you'll buy them if you lose. There you go. Okay, Minnesota Vikings, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, don't even watch the game. Don't even bother. I've already projected the result for you.
Yeah, Packers win. You're so wrong right now.
As we bring in a commenter, Richard Allen Harris Jr. Congrats, Tom. That's awesome. Isn't it great? It really makes me feel alone, though. This guy's getting married, and, I'm just alone. Harris Rubenstein, congrats, Tom. You're getting married, man. By the way, I didn't get invited to this wedding.
I'm about 2 minutes from walking off set right now.
Keep those congrats flowing in, ladies and gentlemen. We absolutely love it.
I hate all of you.
We love life moments here on Chat Sports Live on NFL Daily. Tom, are you going to be okay?
What's up next, Cam?
We got Buccaneers at Cardinals. This one's a good one at 4:05 Eastern Time. Look, the Cardinals coming off a tough loss. They did not really compete at all against the Philadelphia Eagles. You got to wonder about their psyche at this point. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, bit of a mini bye after their loss on Thursday Night Football to the New England Patriots. They're going to get a lot of their defensive pieces back, Levante David and TJ Ward and company. They didn't play against New England in that loss. This could be big for Tampa Bay. But the Cardinals always play tough at the Big Toaster in Arizona, Tom.
Yeah, but I think it's just a better Bucs team. Like the Cardinals right now are beat up on the offensive line. Yeah, they got Adrian Peterson. I don't know how much that's actually going to boost their ground game because they can't run the football in general. Still think Peterson's better than Chris Johnson, or I should say the shell of Chris Johnson, because he was washed up as can be. I got the Bucs this week. I think the defense is going to be fine. Carson Palmer will throw for plenty of yards, but he's knew that all year. The Cardinals aren't scoring, and that's the issue there. I got the Bucs. I think a 1.5-point spread they can easily cover. I feel pretty confident about this one.
Well, the Cardinals and Larry Fitzgerald especially chasing history with 16 reception yards. He will surpass Steve Smith Sr. for the 7th most in NFL history, so keep an eye on that one, a little subplot there. So we bring it away in. Did the Cardinals make a good decision in trading for Adrian Peterson? And Tom, this is kind of an interesting decision here because I don't think AP realizes he's going to the worst offensive line in the NFL right now, according to Pro Football Focus.
Well, it's because they're so beat up right now, and yeah, I think that's a fair comment. Like, it's not a good offensive line now because of all the injuries. Maybe Seattle's actually worse overall, but this is a bottom 5 O-line no matter how you grade it out.
Yeah.
And I don't have an issue with the trade. You gave up a late-round pick for a guy in Peterson who he can be a good halfback for you right now in the NFL. The Saints didn't use him right because Sean Payton just doesn't like to use halfbacks properly.
Right.
He's never used Ingram right.
Seen that with Ingram, yep.
He uses Kamara and the scat backs right, but he doesn't know how to use an actual lead back. So I think with Arizona, they're trying to win now still. With Carson Palmer and Fitzgerald, Peterson has a handful of years at best, probably less than that. Mm-hmm. So I don't have an issue with that trade.
So the Buccaneers favored on the road here.
I got the Bucs.
I got the Cardinals. We continue to disagree.
Yeah.
I think they find a way. They get after Jameis Winston. One thing you can guarantee about Winston, he's going to throw interceptions. And you got the Honey Badger back there. You got Patrick Peterson back there.
Fair.
All right? It's going to be a defensive battle, I feel. I think the special teams will be won by Arizona as well. And it's a 19-17 type of score. One of those deals out west. So there you go.
That's fair.
This one may not be close at all. Miami traveling to Atlanta. Smokin' Jay versus Matty Ice. I mean, this one's obvious, Tom.
Smokin' Jay's been awful.
Yeah.
Like, he has just been bad, and maybe the Dolphins should turn back to Matt Moore here, the original backup for the Dolphins behind Tannehill. Cutler just hasn't looked good at all. He's been worse than what he was last year with the Bears. Now, we saw the Dolphins' offense have issues early last year. Maybe this is a slow starting team right now. The offensive line has not been very good. I think the Dolphins will be better than they are right now. And actually, the 12.5-point spread gave me pause.
Yeah.
Because this spread actually opened up at 9. So it got betted up to 12.5. That's often a sign to me that, hey, maybe Vegas thinks this is going to be a closer game. I'm very confident that the Falcons will win, and I'll pick the Falcons with the 12.5-point spread. But there's a chance it's closer. I'm not super confident in it.
Yeah, that's a great point there. I will hang on with the Falcons as well. I think they do business against the Miami Dolphins. I just don't think the Dolphins are going to have the firepower. It looks like Devontae Parker is not going to be in this game. Jay Ajayi, I mean, yeah, he's getting the opportunities, but a lot of times the Dolphins are behind, and so you kind of have to give up on them in the second half. So I'm going to have to take the Falcons in this one as well. I think they get it done in Atlanta coming off the bye there. Speaking of a bye, we'll consider the Patriots coming off a mini bye off of Thursday Night Football as they take on the New York Football Jets, who are 3-2 in the AFC East.
I cannot wait for the Jets to suddenly realize that they're the Jets and, end up hurting themselves by winning like maybe 1 or 2 more games, have like 5 wins, and miss out on a quarterback in the draft again. Because then they're just like the most classic Jets thing. It'd be so Jets. Like, everyone knows they're bad. Even though they're 3-2, look at the total offense and total defense numbers.
Yeah, it's gross.
That's bottom 10. They should not be 3-2. The Patriots by 9, give me New England. Like, come on. There's no way I'm ever picking the Jets. I'm not doing it.
And this is where we disagree.
How are you picking New York?
I'm picking New York.
I know, not straight up. How are you picking them against the spread?
Actually, I am picking them. No, I'm just kidding.
I am about to say, come on, man.
No, I do believe that they'll keep this close somewhere to a 17 to 23 type of score, because that's how it usually goes in New York with New England. Harris Rubenstein, I'm sure, knows that better than anybody else here at Chat Sports, how these games tend to be pretty tight, no matter who's playing at the quarterback position. And look, Josh McCown is much more serviceable than people realize. Like, he can throw the football and hang around with the best of teams. Sometimes it's just the cast around him that fails him. So I think the Jets keep this close within 6 points, 7 points.
I don't think that they will.
Not at all.
I think this is going to be a Patriots blowout win.
By the way, Tom Brady, if he does indeed win, will surpass Brett Favre and Peyton Manning for the most regular season wins in NFL history. So more GOAT status for Tom Brady right there.
Hats off to Tom Brady then.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's impressive stuff there. He's going to play this week, by the way. He has a minor shoulder injury.
Yep.
He's going to be just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, more trickery from Mr. Belichick, I'm sure, with the injury report. As we check in with Landover, Maryland, the Washington Redskins hosting the San Francisco 49ers. The Redskins favored by 11 in this one, and that just seems too heavy for me, Tom.
It actually does. I actually agree with you here because the Niners, they're not a good team, but they've played teams close this year. I remember they nearly beat the Rams. They've battled pretty well. I know this is a road game for San Francisco, going opposite coast, which is always tough, but I think they can, lose by 7 or 10. I think that they can do that. So I can't believe I'm really saying it here. I will take the 49ers.
Okay.
Which is weird because I don't think they're going to win, but the spread of 11 is a little high for me.
Say what you want about the 49ers. They have been competitive so far this year. So, it's something to be said about that. And, yeah, I think 11 points is a little too much for me, too. I am going to go with the San Francisco 49ers to keep it within that range. The offense rankings, the defense rankings, they're not really there on paper, but I'm sure they find a way, score some points with Marquise Goodwin on the outside. I think they get Breida going at the running back position. But you got to give credit to the Washington Redskins right now.
It's a good team.
It's a good team, and I don't think the record indicates how good they are right now. They made a lot of good improvements on the defensive side. They're one of the worst teams in third down defense last year. Now they're one of the best. So with that, I still will take the 49ers within that margin of 11 points. We do indeed have commenters flowing in. Susie saying, Tom Downey, is Tom Brady's injury a concern for Sunday? Should fantasy owners be worried? Well, you addressed that.
Friend of the show, Susie, he's going to be fine. He's expected to play. It's Tom Brady. If you have Tom Brady, as long as he's active, you can check it again, a half hour before the game starts. Go ahead and just start Tom Brady and reap the benefits. Against the Jets, he's going to go off this week.
I don't know, Susie. It's going to be a close one.
Don't listen to Cam.
It's going to be a close game.
If it is, it'll be a high-scoring game.
Okay,
all right?
fair.
He is going to go off this week. I like all Patriots players. Gronk, Hogan, Gillislee, White, Brady. Start them all.
They're playing in New York, of course, in that one. Early window for the Patriots and Jets. By the way, back to the Niners and Redskins real quick. Possible tryout here for Kirk Cousins in front of Mr. Shanahan, the coach for the 49ers?
Maybe that buzz has been there for a long time now. And I think it'll remain there. And this is a nice little poll here that we can do. I think he's gone. And I think it's not just that the Redskins don't really want Kirk because they kind of haven't showed that they want him. I think Kirk wants out of Washington.
Even though he said that he doesn't want to be out. It's just wordplay.
Well, yeah, but what is he going to say? Yeah, I want out right now in the middle of the year?
Yeah, I know.
I think he wants out. So, and I think there's a pretty good chance he ends up in San Francisco. By the way, if that happens, the Niners have gobs of cap space available. It is going to be a massive contract that's like all front-loaded. Well, so the Redskins literally can't match it at that point.
No, absolutely not. And we want you to weigh in. Will Kirk Cousins leave Washington after 2017? Throw your hearts out for no. Wow faces for yes to the 49ers, their opponent this week. Or yes somewhere else. Throw out that laughing face. We'll be tracking them along here on the broadcast. I think there's a lot of legitimacy to what you just said, Tom. Kirk Cousins, I'm sure he's thinking, at least in his mind, all right, let's put on a show for Kyle Shanahan, and let's see if this 49ers team and John Lynch and company will want to grab me. And, he'll have a lot of pull in terms of what he wants to do out there on the offensive side if he goes out there.
That's true, because he and Shanahan get along very well, and I think Shanahan always liked him more than RG3, especially after the first RG3 injury, which he was just never the same after that.
So Redskins, 49ers, that one in Maryland. Let's check in with another late window game. The Rams and the Jaguars. This low-key could be a playoff game where both these teams end up making the playoffs, not necessarily playing each other in the playoffs because they're different conferences, but these are two perhaps playoff teams.
Yeah, that's really weird to say, though.
Very weird.
Like, this is, if you could have told me at the beginning of the year that this was like a must-watch game, like, oh, because of the comedy factor, right? Because they're both awful.
The laugh factor,
like,
yeah, sure.
No, they're actually like good teams this year, which is really weird to hear because the Rams have been able to win games. The offense has looked great under Sean McVay. The Jaguars' defense has been solid. Fournette's been unbelievable this year. I don't really know what to do with this game because I still don't know how much I believe in either of these teams. So as a result, I'll just take the home team and give me the Jags.
So the Jags...
Low confidence meter, though.
Yeah, I bet. The Jaguars are favored at home in this one. This one could be a really exciting game in that it's strength versus strength, but different strengths on the offensive side. And by that I mean running the football with Leonard Fournette and using that offensive line in the run game and limiting Blake Bortles for Jacksonville. Meanwhile, for the Rams, they like to kind of run and gun a little bit, get Todd Gurley on the outside. You've seen it in some highlights so far this year. So two different types of strengths on that offensive side could make for an exciting game. I actually think the Rams win this one outright. I don't think you can hide Blake Bortles long term. You can't throw the football 14 times a game and win games in a good string. And so I think when the Jaguars play a good team like the Rams here, Blake Bortles is going to have to throw it 24, 25 times, something like that.
That's not how the Jaguars win games.
That's not how they win games, but
they win games.
They're going to have to.
They win games by having Blake Bortles throw it less times than Antonio Brown got targeted.
Yes.
Which was a real thing, by the way, last week. That's how they win games.
The Rams are indeed 2-0 on the road this season. If they go to 3-0, that would match their, of course, 2001 Super Bowl team when they went on to play the New England Patriots. Tom Brady got that first ring. Mm-hmm. So the Rams could be playing like the best show on turf. I don't know. I'm just saying. We'll see. But they have a big one against Jacksonville in Jacksonville. All right, Sunday Night Football, and I am feeling for NBC right now. New York Football Giants winless, taking on the Denver Broncos, and the Giants lose a heartbreaker against a team that is used to losing heartbreakers in the Chargers last week. Here they go, taking on the Broncos. Denver coming off a bye.
The Giants are going to be so bad the rest of the year.
Who is Eli going to throw to?
Roger Lewis and Travis Rudolph and Evan Ingram.
Oh, boy.
And a dude named Ed Egan.
Oy.
That's a real person, by the way.
And maybe Orleans Darkwa. I don't know.
Shane Green out of the backfield will get a lot of work. So will Wayne Gallman. Paul Perkins is hurt as well. Like, the Giants' offense is going to be awful. And now they get the NFL's best defense. Look, the Giants without Odell Beckham scored 3 points in Week 1. Now they get the Denver defense. They might get shut out unless
at Mile High, yeah.
Unless Trevor Siemian throws a pick six.
Right.
Like, the spread is 11.5. Give me Denver.
Yeah.
This will not be a close game.
This could be somewhat of a 35-10 type score as we bring in a weigh-in here. Is it time for a coaching change for the Giants? Ben McAdoo looks lackadaisical at the helm right now.
I fear that he has lost the team. With all the stuff around Dominique DRC.
Yeah, sure.
Forgot his name there. DRC.
Rogers Camardi, yeah.
There you go. With his suspension, I just don't know if the Giants players trust Ben McAdoo. And once you lose the locker room, it's game over, man.
You can't win it back.
Like, you will not get it back. So look, Ben McAdoo, frankly, probably wasn't a great hire in the first place. Mm-hmm. Like, you wanted to keep some continuity there for, I think, the sake of Eli Manning, because the Tom Coughlin era did not work out too well. I didn't think Ben McAdoo was a great hire then. And if the Giants keep losing games and they can't find a way to win a few ones, yeah, it's time for a new coach. Go get somebody better and more qualified.
Well, one thing for sure, the Giants aren't going to make the playoffs this year, and it's just turning into a dumpster fire with the injuries to Braden Marshall, Odell Beckham Jr. Now you have people calling for Ben McAdoo's head. Certainly a rough situation for them, but I do indeed believe the Denver Broncos are going to absolutely destroy this team on Sunday Night Football.
It's going to be ugly.
Not going to be
It's going to be ugly.
So there you go. We have one more primetime game to get to. Colts taking on the Titans. So it could be Marcus Mariota, it could not be, could be Matt Castle. Heck, let's get Clipboard Jesus back here and Charlie Whitehurst playing under center for the Titans. But I do think that Mariota has a solid shot to play here because he did practice today.
He's hopeful that he will play, and that he practiced today is a really, really good sign. Because remember, it's Monday night, so it's not really Friday for Mariota, it's Thursday.
Yep.
So that's a huge sign for him. This is another game that's off the board because of the uncertainty around the quarterback deal with Tennessee. But I do think Marcus Mariota plays, and if he plays at home on Monday Night Football, give me the Tennessee Titans. I feel very confident in that as long as Mariota plays. If Castle plays, give me the Colts.
So it's essentially a pick'em game, as we'll consider it here for Monday Night Football. Jacoby Brissett, say what you want about the Colts overall, but he's a gamer. And
he's fine.
He puts out a good effort.
He's a solid backup.
He's a solid backup, and he's been performing well enough for the Colts to win football games. I don't think they win this one, though. I do believe the Titans end up victorious.
He's my backup plan if Mariota can't go for fantasy.
There you go. That's actually a good fantasy strategy. Do you have Mariota on your team? Grab Brissett, because nobody owns him.
Monday night game.
He
was available in my Dynasty League, so you know he's available in your league, unless you got a huge Colts fan in your league.
And of course, we started the show with some breaking news surrounding NaVorro Bowman, the all-pro linebacker, being released by the San Francisco 49ers. He's on the market, and people are calling for him. Panthers, get Bowman, Anthony says, Tom.
I considered it. It's all dependent on whether or not Luke Kuechly is healthy. If Kuechly comes back from his concussion that he suffered last night, if he gets out of protocol, then at that point, the Panthers don't need Bowman. If he is a true free agent and Kuechly's going to miss some time, at that point, I do think Carolina and Bowman make a lot of sense. That was one of the ones I had considered as an option.
Honorable mention. Maybe
Honorable
number
mention.
6
Exactly.
there in your rankings.
Exactly.
So, as we mentioned, NaVorro Bowman is a free man. And the interesting part about that story, by the way, the 49ers are picking up the tab here, right? I mean, essentially, they have that contract, and NaVorro Bowman is a free man in terms of negotiating money and what have you.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be some dispute over the contract itself. The way it's set up right now, Bowman thinks that there's no offset in it. Which what it means is, like, if Bowman signs for $2 million, he gets what the Niners cut him and the $2 million, as opposed to the $2 million coming out of what the 49ers owed him. So that offset language is a big deal for players for situations like this.
As we bring in the rankings here, Tom, these are your top 5 landing spots for NaVorro Bowman. Steelers at 5, Cowboys at 4, Saints at 3, Raiders at 2, Patriots at 1. Heck, Bill Belichick could be on the phone with them right now.
I think you'll wait to see after this week, because teams are going to make a Friday edition here.
Yep.
But I think you're going to see all these teams have some level of interest, plus more. We took the top 5. There are always more than 5 teams interested. Pittsburgh, but Bowman went to Penn State, so there's some hometown stuff there. I think that makes sense. The Cowboys need backer help, so do the Saints. But I think the Raiders and the Patriots are the two that make the most sense for me right now. Both teams need inside linebacker help. Those are more, productive and successful teams, especially New England. And I think the Raiders need Bowman more than anyone. Even more so than New England. They need an actual middle linebacker. Yep. They truly don't have a legitimate one right now. There are some young guys with some upside. Bowman becomes that go-to guy right away.
And they need that captain there.
They do.
To lead the troops, in a sense.
Also, yes.
So throw in your comments, folks. What team will sign linebacker NaVorro Bowman? It's a tough one, because a lot of teams are struggling in that front 7. A lot of teams look lost in that front 7, especially when they're without their big-time linebackers, i.e. Sean Lee right now, as you had the Cowboys in your top 5.
Get the Penn State tandem back together.
That would be an elite. You like to use that word, an elite duo.
As long as they're healthy, yeah.
Very true. Very true.
It's a big if there.
So we'll show it one more time. Of course, we have that list here. The Patriots there at number 1, and the Raiders at number 2. They've been a disappointment in the linebacking core. Saints at 3, Cowboys at 4, Steelers at 5. Of course, we will monitor this developing story throughout the weekend, and then throughout next week. We'll be posting on chatsports.com.
2 other teams I saw in the comments listed. The Packers, I think that is also an option. They would have been 5th, 6th, or 7th for me, somewhere in that range.
Yep.
The Packers, I don't know if they want a linebacker, though. I think they're pretty happy with Blake Martinez and Jake Ryan. Whether or not that's actually the case, whether they should go sign him as opposed to whether they will, I don't think they're going to get him. I think they've kind of spent their offseason, their budget on older free agents already. And then the Giants I saw as well. If the Giants were 4-1,
right,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But at 0-5, I just don't think it makes sense for either team right now.
Yeah, NaVorro Bowman certainly looking for a contender at this point. The Giants being 0-5. Probably not that destination at this juncture. All right, you've been watching NFL Daily here on Chat Sports Live. Stick around on chatsports.com to follow all the breaking news surrounding Zeke, surrounding NaVorro Bowman, heck, all the games that are going on across college football and NFL on Sunday. So there's a lot to get to in the sporting world, and we're glad that Tom Downey is here to break it all down throughout the programs. Tom, appreciate the time, sir.
Thank you.
Cam Rogers here alongside, and we'll say see you next time. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into NFL Daily, Friday the 13th edition. We hope you have stayed safe out there, not walking under any ladders or what have you. We thank you for coming on the...
You would be Mr. Superstitious.
Hey, it's a
Or
real
as my
thing.
mother used to say, stupid-stitious.
Oh, whatever. I'm Cam Rogers. That guy right there is Tom Downey. We are taking you through the next 45 minutes or so, going through every single Week 6 matchup across the National Football League, but we do have some breaking